called him fount of knowledge, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a cultist, a groomer, not only malicious but also apathetic, worse than Smilk himself. And this is who they're referring to. Worst of all, it is all misinformation that is being spread as if it's anywhere near the truth. No, he's not morally gray at best either. Sage of Truth is the awakened one of his universe. This is not only demonstrated clearly through his design parallels with Awakened Pure Vanilla, but also from his trailer line. Logically, upon observing such similarities, you'd assume he's an inspiring, heroic good-willed cookie, just like Pure Vanilla, right?
But his soul jam is reversed, look! It's all a facade!
You guys, do realize that the soul jam is not the only telltale of corruption, right? Considering that Sage Recluse belongs to their own distinct universe that's completely different from Canon, we don't even know what happened with soul gems for them. Furthermore, if we take a look at Sage's design, the starry hair, mark on forehead, mismatched eyes are all traits of his that contrast with his corrupted counterpart. And if that isn't enough, his design even has a subtle element on his hat, a normal soul jam, which even matches his universe's Recluse, whose effects have the reversed soul jam. Just take a look at his design compared to Smilk. All the sharp edges are rounded out, made to be softer. The costume story even shows him stating that he also once fell into despair upon the face of truth, before choosing to persist, similarly to Up, PV who fell into doubt but eventually awakened. Speaking of costume story, many have used the scene of Recluse screaming as evidence for Sage intentionally hurting the cookies with the harsh truth. The pure vanilla infantilization aside, as I've mentioned previously, Sage has also suffered from the truth, which can be cruel in its nature. There's nothing he can do about that, but instead teach cookies how to persevere through and grow from their experience. If he really had an agenda and past of hurting cookies, he wouldn't have loyal followers nor a good reputation. Considering the cookies mention he's been there for a long time, no, there being cookies who respect and seek his teachings does not make him a cult leader. That's like calling a teacher some sort of cultist. In fact, it's mentioned in his KR description that cookies come to him for advice, which he offers in a gentle yet necessarily sharp manner. Claiming that he's a blank slate, or that we don't know much, nearly enough about him, is a cheap excuse to make way and somehow validate the evil Sage propaganda. It's already been demonstrated clearly that he cares for the well-being of cookies, urges them to pursue education, arts and crafts to flourish in life and find ways to cope with the harsh truth. Reaching the peak is even a metaphor for facing life's inevitable pains and one's own flaws, a moment of despair. That's exactly why Sage tells cookies, or rather specifically Recluse, to not give up in the title. He's shown to be optimistic, kind, elegant, and even good humored. There's still a hint of showsman in him, but it isn't fake. Instead, his aim is to tell tales and preach philosophy in an engaging form, calling him uncaring of others' emotional reactions, that he secretly enjoys pushing anyone he sees into the cruel truth is blatant mischaracterization, and disrespectful towards the ideology clash that him and Recluse represent. Sage holds lectures in a square for an obvious reason, so that the cookies can freely choose which ones to attend, come and go as they please. The lectures have varying topics, gradual steps towards the peak. Furthermore, Sage believes that truth exists everywhere, not as just a single universal constant. Instead, it shifts with circumstances and with the cookie who seeks it. That is why he tells Recluse that he once thought someone remained at the peak to exploit truth for personal gain but came to realize otherwise. Instead, Sage explains each cookie carries their own truth, their own path to walk and purpose. Recluse's truth is his drive to save others from suffering, while Sage's lies in serving as a figure of knowledge and guidance toward enlightenment. A figure of persevering through traumatizing experiences and remaining optimistic despite it all. At first, Recluse struggles to accept this idea, remaining adamant in his belief. He too once thought his counterpart sought to twist truth toward terrible ends. To him, hope feels futile, and he clings to the notion that cookies should remain in ignorance if it means keeping them safe. On the surface, this may seem noble, born from good intentions, but in reality, it is deeply harmful, much like Eternal Sugar's desire to trap cookies in her garden. Safe and happy perhaps, but stripped of passion and meaning. Ignorance, after all, no matter how seemingly blissful, is still a disease. It stifles personal growth, impacts society, and leads to ruin. We've already seen in Canon how trying to prevent cookies like White Lily from seeking the truth can lead to even more catastrophic tragedies. To deny reality, or to prevent others from experiencing it, is to encourage ignorance, and in doing so, to deny oneself. Denial is a form of deceit. Truth, even when painful, offers clarity and the chance to move forward, rather than remaining trapped in endless suffering. Recluse is unfortunately stuck in this very state, where his depression leaves him disillusioned. In his eyes, shielding others from reality seems like mercy, yet it only deepens his own despair and blinds him to the relief that comes from accepting, and even embracing the inevitable, fundamental flaws of truth life. So it's no surprise when Recluse is weary of Sage at first, but still comes around to realize that he means no harm. If he wasn't sure of Sage's motives, he wouldn't have left as easily. On another hand, neither Recluse's passive nature nor Sage's subtle intrigue toward the hermit justify mischaracterizing Sage as someone who treats Recluse like an object or a deranged experiment. The notion that Sage, who speaks and acts with such emotion, would view people with apathy and regard Recluse as nothing more than an experiment to prod at and discard contradicts his very nature. A especially when the story hints at his admiration for Recluse's resilience. So claiming that Sage Recluse is actually even more toxic than Shadow Vanilla is factually incorrect. Neither has ever posed a risk to the other instead. They reached mutual understanding through simple conversation. Much like Shadow Vanilla, they balance and complete one another in their own way. Sure, their relationship is bound to have flaws, ups and downs, and even unhealthy aspects. That's what makes it so rich and complex. But mischaracterizing Sage is outright evil, and Recluse is a helpless, blindsided victim unable to defend himself completely overlooks that nuance. The purpose of this costume story and its theme is to illustrate how Shadow Milk and Pure Vanilla are destined to be two halves of a whole even when their roles are reversed. Much like truth and deceit, each born from and bound to the other, their philosophies in this costume story are inseparably intertwined. No matter the universe, Pure Vanilla and Shadow Milk are fated to find each other again and again, two souls that don't just mirror but complete each other.